So for my book report, I am doing Yes Chef by Marcus Samuelsson, a memoir to him. And I bought an ebook because, quite frankly, I couldn't find it in a store. So yeah, that's my ebook. So what I thought of the book was, I actually thought it was pretty good. Actually, I like this memoir. It explains a lot, about him, especially how he is perceived on TV. Because to me, how he's perceived on TV is a jerk. But he's a strict jerk, which is what I approve of it. I mean, what I like about him. And I can understand now because, like, when you watch him on Chop, he's just so anal about everything. But when explaining in his book, just how he perceives his story, I can honestly explain why now. I can tell. Now. So, yeah. Anyways, the book was, I liked it actually. It wasn't what I expected because I kind of expected, just a book about, just struggles in the kitchen and just struggles with life and whatsoever. So, I mean, and it did get to that in the second chapters, and the third chapter was titled My Way to Sweden. But what really did touch me a lot about the book was the fact that when he talks about his mother, that is the one thing that I think has completely stayed in my mind about that book. At the beginning, it's the first chapter. It's entitled My African Mother and the Little Boy. So when he talks about his mother, he has no like figment of, he has just basically the memories in his head. How he explains about how his mother could cook, especially, it totally just makes sense as to why we got into this business. You know what I mean? Because for me, food will always bring people together, no matter where you are, no matter what you do, no matter if you're just hanging out or what. Food is the glue that will always bring everything together, and especially with one specific ingredient, which is, for him, it's this thing called beber. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, but it's called beber. It's just a seasoning, and it's like a thick seasoning sauce that can be used for anything. You can use it for chicken, you can use it for fish, as how he explains it, but it can just be used for anything, which is just amazing in itself. Because what I liked about that part was that my father has this one sauce where I literally eat it with everything. I mostly eat it with fish, but I eat it with everything, and that always just reminds me of my dad. So that's what I liked about it. But to me, that entire memoir is just, it's an ode to his mother. It's an ode to his culture, his Ethiopian culture, which is just amazing in itself because it shows just the diversity of how a cultural background or a culture clash can create memories for a lifetime, can create a lifelong memories and traditions to be passed down from generation to generation to generation. What I liked about that memoir a lot was how he explained his childhood and his mother. His mother was just, he grew up in Ethiopia, and he had a sister named Faitaye. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. But he was the youngest out of the bunch. It was just his mother, and his sister. They grew up, they worked, they did their things. Ethiopian women were basically just treated like garbage. So the fact that she was a single mother in Ethiopia trying to raise her two kids was, I would say, that's just a blessing and a miracle in itself. So that's that situation. The next situation, that's that thing. The next thing that I loved about the book was the part in the first chapter where he talks about his mother, how his mother, his sister, they all got sick, and like, I guess it was a measles convention or something. I mean, it was a measles outbreak. So being that your kids are sick and you can't barely move, the sister and him, literally, actually just let's just say her and the sister walked 75 miles to the nearest hospital that they could find because it was an outbreak going on, and she got her kids help. Which, just, it's the beauty. It's a mother's love. You know what I mean? It's just a mother's love. And I truly do appreciate that. Especially how just he recalls all these different memories, all these different aspects of his life. But in a way, it all relates back to the one that gave birth to him, which is his mother. So that was pretty cool. I especially like to how when he got adopted and he moved to Sweden, to the Leonard and Samuelssons, his adopted parents have been adopting children forever. They always wanted kids. They especially wanted a son and a daughter. They already had a daughter. Her name was Anne. So they wanted a son. And that's where Marcus came involved. So what I do love about that is because he would cook in the kitchen with them. He would feed it. He would cook in the kitchen with them and just learn all these different things. But he also learned how to be a kid. And his mother especially taught him culture values, which I believe today, and in the 3rd chapter titled The Chef, is how he was able to just create everything together, and how the culture in his food and in his living arrangements, in his lifestyle, how just the culture in itself will always be in his food. Like how, do it right, not twice. Always make sure the quality is there. And that is how I believe how he is as a chef. He puts the quality in his food. But again, as I said, it's just like that memoir to me just symbolized how, it wasn't, I think honestly, it was an ode to his mother, because they had no photographer to take a picture of her. All he had was his food and the culture that his mom bestowed in him, and also the Swedish culture that his adoptive parents bestowed in him. And it was just an ode, to me, it was an ode to his parents, because his parents are the ones that taught him, just the values of being a good man, being a great man. And mostly by being a great man, it led into him becoming the chef that he is today. Which is why I think, because in the last chapter, everybody thought that he was nuts because of the fact that he wanted to open a kitchen. Let me rephrase that. Because he wanted to open a restaurant in Harlem, especially. Because, New York City, Harlem, that's like the ghetto of the ghetto. So knowing the fact that he opened a restaurant that bestowed the cultural lifestyle and the cultural values and bestowed great food is always amazing. Because if I ever was to own a restaurant, that's how I want to be perceived, as welcome into my home. You're not going to cook a meal in your own home with guests involved and not make it like how you want it yourself. So that's what I think, why his restaurant in Harlem is doing so well. It's because of the fact that it's his mother in him, and his adoptive parents in him, and his Ethiopian culture and ways, and how he was raised, and how the world is. It just all puts down, and it's all close into his food, which is how you appreciate it and how you enjoy life. And again, this is probably why I think that was probably best for him. And like for me, becoming a young chef is best for me, is because I want to give out good quality food, but I also I want to serve it to the way how I serve it in my own home, or like an Italian culture, I say, welcome, come eat and enjoy. Same thing too with his Harlem restaurant and with himself in general. Just come eat and enjoy your life, enjoy those traditions, enjoy those memories, because that's all that a tradition of a family shall have. Those family cultures, those family ways can get passed on from generation to generation to generation, but they will always create a memory, a long lasting memory, like a berber, his sauce, which came from his mother, my father's sauce, which came from my grandmother. It will always last through generations to generations, because the main thing is food is what brings people together. Food is the way how you communicate. Food is the way of life. Food is the way on how you live, because you're happy. Because food is the glue that keeps a lifestyle together. Food is the glue that keeps everything together. Thank you. And again, my book report is on Marcus Samuelsson's Yes Chef. I highly recommend it. Go out and get it. A diary, in my opinion, to his mother, which is just the best way to do, because women in the kitchen always rock. Thank you.